back, everybody. I'm Matt.
Welcome back. I'm Jimmy.
We're two average guys. We are here to talk about college football and what happened over the weekend.
Sir.
Not a whole lot that we really want to talk about with the Husker game, but we're going to talk about it anyways.
Yeah, I guess that's
we'll start off with the Huskers. It was really rough yesterday. From the get-go. Our first possession actually started to look promising.
Yeah,
we were moving the ball a little bit. We looked good. We were blocking pretty well up front.
And it looked like we had a wide-open receiver that Martinez was throwing to that could have been a quick touchdown and could have started the game out a little better.
Yeah,
It's tipped up in the air, very high up into the air, so it was pretty easily intercepted.
Yeah, so we were moving the ball a little bit. We started to run the ball, get a couple yards here and there, and then, that just throws the wind out of your sails. That sucked. Not a good way to start the game. Obviously, just an unlucky, good play by their defender to get his hand up, and unlucky by us to not be able to, either catch that ball or bat it down out of the air to where they couldn't catch the ball, because I think that changed the whole tone to start the game.
And it was downhill from there pretty quick.
It went downhill real fast.
They went down and scored pretty easily.
With running the ball, they didn't throw the ball once on their first drive. And on the second drive, I think they maybe only threw it once or twice too, because
they didn't have to.
So Michigan, typically their run game is not. They have to run the ball because they haven't had quarterbacks who can throw the ball. Now they got Shea Patterson who can throw the ball. And so I was expecting a little bit more of the passing, especially with our rush defense the way we've done so far this year. And Nebraska's rush defense has been pretty good. Now you're looking at Colorado and Troy, so it's hard to base how good we've been, and then we get into Big Ten play and we get romped really fast on the run game.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just talking to people about it. I don't know if it's the talent level that we have, because I think that we have pretty decent talent, but when you get into Big Ten play, it's all about the big guys up front, both sides of the ball. And we look like we got pushed around on both sides of the ball.
We got talent. Remember, we're still playing with the last guys that Bo recruited. Which I got nothing to say about Bo. He had
Riley. You talking about Riley?
Huh?
Riley?
No, these guys would have been freshmen with Bo. Or they could have been recruited by Bo, came to Nebraska.
Okay. I got you.
But either way, Riley or Bo, no matter what. With Bo, we definitely had more of that West Coast, but we ran the ball quite a bit still. And we have quarterbacks that could run. With Riley, he wanted more of a pass offense. So we brought in guys that weren't physically in shape to get downfield on the run, to get outside and make those blocks when we're doing a sweep, to hold guys before our quarterback so they can make a decision. And so I think that was very apparent yesterday. There was times when we got the ball outside on a run and we had a guard or a tackle come to pull and make a block, or a tight end, and their defense was hitting our guy before our blocks. Our blocks were 3 or 4 steps behind. And I think that goes with that. That's the physical nature of our team. That's the conditioning that they're not used to yet. They're not used to, and we haven't seen this fast of a defense yet.
Right. And they are top defense.
They're top 5 defense.
They're top 5 defense. They were showing some stats during the game about the Michigan defensive coordinator, how his teams have ranked, how his defenses have ranked, and they've been very good every year.
Yeah, and that's what Michigan prides himself on, is their defense more than anything else.
And unfortunately, the bright spot in our first 2 games was our defense, and that was not the case yesterday.
They were merely invisible.
Yeah, and, Adrian Martinez was 7 of 15 for 22 yards or something like that.
And he had no time to throw the ball.
He had absolutely no time. Can you imagine if that would have been Tanner Lee?
Oh, God.
At least Martinez could move a little bit.
and so that, if you're going to put a bright spot on it, Tanner Lee, damn it, Jimmy. Martinez was able to move out of the pocket. Okay, you can tell he was not 100% if you ask me. But, once again, we're playing a faster defense. He is a true freshman. So seeing a guy rush him like that, he hasn't seen it all year. So it was really hard for him to scramble away because he hasn't seen that kind of speed. Plus, he
didn't play last week.
So true freshman, that's really hard to prepare yourself for that when you haven't seen that kind of defense yet. So
and when guys are coming through on you so fast,
our offensive line. I don't have a better word than atrocious or pathetic. I don't really want to say that, but I kind of do want to say that because it was that bad.
Hot garbage, maybe?
Hot garbage. We've used that term a couple times when we talk about Nebraska, and it hurts. It really does, because I believe I believe this team has talent. I do.
Yeah.
I think it's a different kind of talent than that for Mike Riley, what he wanted, and the kind of offense he wanted to run. So we're seeing a different talent. And our offensive line, we just got beat. We got beat. We were getting pushed back 3-4 yards. Our defensive line getting pushed 4-5 yards in the backfield, or not the backfield, on the opposite side of the ball, and they're running through holes.
Yeah.
But one thing our linebackers didn't do, I saw Moberry do it, I saw Reed do it, I saw Boodle do it, I saw Jackson do it, I saw Williams do it. Missed tackles,
Yep.
There's a lot of them. Trying to tackle at the shoulder pads, not going down low at the legs or the waist. And one other thing I saw was when they would make a hole, their line would make a very big hole, by the way, and we would have our linebacker, looks like they're going to shoot the hole, but they shot past the hole, as if the running back was going to go outside.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that vision was, and maybe that's something they're going to see that in film.
Right.
Because to me it was extremely obvious watching on TV that these guys are missing
Well,
that huge hole that's being opened up for these running backs.
And I did notice that those linebackers were also getting blocked by linemen coming, to the second level, past the D line to this, and getting in front of them, which is what you try to do on offense.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. Yeah.
It was happening way too easy.
Yeah.
And I talked about how I thought Mohamed Barry was the best player on defense, and I still think he probably is one of the best. But I was watching some replays, and he did not look that great.
Mm-hmm.
And I texted you yesterday, somebody needs to get in place of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Give somebody some experience. Get somebody some reps.
I mean, Jackson's had really 3 bad games.
He's had 3 bad years.
Yeah, 3 bad years, very true.
He gets burned every game for a long touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know what they see in him, to be honest, but one thing I do know is, you look at yesterday's game, and yes, we got outbeat big time.
Yeah.
Are we giving up on the team? Absolutely not. We stand by the Huskers. We stand by the coaching staff. We stand by the players. And we're going to cheer them on every single game.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited. We were playing top 20 team. I thought if Martinez played, that we actually had a legitimate shot. I really felt like we actually had a legitimate shot because I didn't think Michigan's offense was that great.
Yep.
Thought we'd be able to stop them, and if we could get some points on the board, win a low-scoring game.
Yep. And so, Randall, I appreciate your comment here. So you talk about that belief with the talent. So I saw this happen multiple times with our running backs. Like you said, when they ran the ball, Michigan hit the holes with confidence, with speed.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times where we should have had some good runs with not only Mo Washington, but Greg Bell when we got outside. We weren't opening up any holes, but when we got outside, they would kind of stutter step or slow down and try to make a cut back instead of just keep hitting the corner to the edge.
I was worried about it going in the run game because I knew their defense was great, and when you see Washington the first couple games, he was pretty flashy.
Yep.
But he'd get outside and he'd juke and stuff like that, and I knew he was not going to be able to do that against a Michigan team.
And those guys are talented. Bell and Washington definitely have talent. Like you said, Randall, we do have talent, but that belief that I'm going to beat that guy on the other side of the line that's coming to hit me, I didn't see it yesterday, especially with our running backs when we got outside. And that's something that you have to coach them. You have to get them to that next level to say, you can beat that guy to the edge. Or if you can't, get your stiff arm out there and get him to the ground so you can maybe at least get a few yards. Instead, we're taking 3-4 yard losses because we're trying to make a move that we probably shouldn't.
And I think same thing we were talking about with Martinez. I mean, these guys are getting the ball and they're getting hit right away. Yep. So, I mean, you lose your confidence pretty quick.
Yeah. So you look at wide receiver blocking. You look at, we didn't really bring our tight ends to block that much, and when we did, they didn't block. I saw it multiple times. Our guys are getting hit, and our tight ends 3 steps behind where the play was.
It was. I think Bunch played a better game than he did against Troy. To be honest.
So one thing I saw from Bunch was the release, the quick release.
Yeah.
He wasn't holding on to the ball for more than 2 seconds. I mean, it was snap 1, 2, boom. He's throwing the ball.
I think Martinez is much better quarterback altogether as a whole. But I thought he played a little bit of a better game. But at that point we were already down 39-0. I mean, they could have had backups in, and who knows? But
either way, I think those quick passes worked, and maybe that's something we look at in the future. Is get those quick routes, those quick outs, those quick slants. We don't do a whole lot of that. We had a couple downs where it was third and 5, and we're running 25-yard routes downfield. And that was one of the biggest complaints I had when we had Armstrong at quarterback. Is we'd have a 5-6 yard first down to gain, and we'd throw it 40 yards downfield. Yeah. And so when you're waiting all that time, that gives the defense time to get to you. And I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but I feel like we need to start doing some of those quicker routes, those quick out routes, get our tight ends more involved in the pass game. But yesterday, bottom line, we got beat, and we got beat bad.
We got beat in every single aspect of the game.
Yeah.
We gave up another special
God.
teams punt return touchdown.
That
I don't know what is going on there.
I don't.
But
well, and so Frost said
if that's the case, kick the ball out of bounds every time.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but
Or kick it high so they have to fair catch it.
Yeah.
Even
So-
if you don't kick it that far.
So our punt return team, and we fair caught almost every single kick
Oh
too.
my gosh, and Lindsay fumbled that one.
So
What are
yeah.
you doing?
Well, before we talk about that, so our special teams, we kept fair catching it. That's something new. It wasn't in the end zone most of the time, and we're calling a fair catch.
Oh, on the kickoffs.
Yes, which ended up benefiting us.
It did, because when we did it like 3 times, and then he caught one and he ran out to like the 12. And I'm like,
yeah.
just
And then it
just
happened
fair
one more
catch
time.
it.
And
Just fair catch it.
So I was okay with the fair catch. But that play,
that's a new rule.
that play by Lindsay, shouldn't have a return guy. Yeah, well, we got at least fair catch it. But on the punts, yeah, maybe don't even have a return guy.
I mean, they're talking about how fast Lindsay is. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that you're a good punt returner just because you're fast.
yeah. Well,
Bad decision making. He hasn't
and
made
so the problem
anything flashy or anything promising.
if he was going to do something on that play, he needed to get it on the first bounce, which was going to be hard to do because of where it bounced. But then he tried to pick it up on the second bounce, and it just went up going straight to Michigan. And thank God
that they have that
they
rule.
can't return it for a touchdown.
You know what's
But-
funny is
Oh.
the last time we were at the big house, it was like 2014 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happened. We fumbled and they took it
That's
to
right.
the end zone, and again the rule, and we ended up stopping them and we ended up winning the game.
Yes.
But it was the same thing, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, and then the second half we came out, and we're already losing pretty big, but we came out and we had a couple 3-and-outs in a row. We had 2 or 3 3-and-outs in a row, and I'm like, defense, hey, they're picking it up, and then boom, then they scored again and again. It just kind of went downhill after that, but so containment. We missed containment all game. With that run game, we didn't hold our positions. We'd have our defensive end that would overshoot the running back. There was one play where they did like a little quick option as well. Just a quick pitch out to the side, and our guy got kind of caught in between, but he didn't go after either guy. He didn't go after the quarterback. He also didn't go after the running back, and so they ended up getting a quick little pitch, and he ran around us. It's like, well, you got to go after some. I'd be happy if you just drilled the quarterback, because then you should have someone else on the assignment. But a lot of blown assignments. Missed special teams, absolutely. It was
really ugly. It was really ugly. It was really tough to watch.
Really
I
hard to
watched
watch.
till the very end, like I always do.
As did I.
There's only been one time that I can remember that I quit watching, and that was the Wisconsin Big Ten championship game a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But I thought we were done with this. To be honest, I didn't think that this feeling that we've had for the last couple years.
Yeah.
I know we felt it last week a little bit, but we still had been competing,
Yes.
and we were in these games. And
Well, there's a lot of games we didn't really compete.
no, I mean the first 2 games of this season.
Oh yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, the last 3 years.
The
Yeah.
last couple years, we haven't competed in a lot of these games, but
Yeah. Well,
it's the same feeling.
and so Michigan was an 18-point favorite, and I thought we'd at least cover.
I thought we would
And
cover.
of course, I predicted us to win because I'm a Husker fan. But I thought we'd at least cover those 18 points because Michigan typically they don't score a lot of points unless they are playing a lesser opponent that they should beat up
That's
on.
what it looked like.
And I didn't think we were a team they should beat up on. And
No.
I had to take back a lot of crap talking on Twitter.
That's right.
Which it ended up being okay because most of the people on Twitter were very they're like they can't score 18 points. So I made a joke about that. More talking about the spread rather than anything else. But most of the fans were very very nice about it. Afterwards, we talked kind of crap back and forth, and they're like, you know what, you guys have a bright future. You're gonna get the talent. We went through the same thing. And so I was like, man, I appreciate it. Go beat Ohio State. As It ended up being fine, but man, I took a lot of flack for. Me and Zom, we were talking crap on Twitter back and forth, and then it's that fun banter to go back and forth with fans, and that's what's nice about it. Because in the end, it's like, you know what? Hey, you guys beat us. I'll take back my words. I'm going to eat it, and it sucks, but I'm going to because you guys beat us by 46. What else can I do?
Right, and I mean I've said it like every game, every week.
Yeah.
Frost said get us early.
Mm-hmm.
They'll remember that.
Well,
the players in the next couple of years, those freshmen, they're gonna remember this game.
And a couple things from Frost last week after the loss is, It's going to get worse before it gets better.
It definitely.
Message number 1. Rock bottom was yesterday.
Yes.
Message, I hope, is rock bottom. Number 2, if you're not on board, get off now.
Yeah.
If you don't believe, he wasn't just talking to his players. He's talking to the
Oh,
fans
he
too.
definitely is talking to the fans.
Because I'm sure he hears about everything that gets put on Twitter, on Facebook, in the media, ESPN. Now, most of the ESPN guys have been, you know what, yesterday was hard to watch. This should be rock bottom for the Huskers because Frost won't allow that again. Like, they love Scott Frost. Again, with Riley, they wouldn't have said that. With Frost, they're like, Frost will bring them back, and that was the roughest they're going to see this season.
And hopefully ever.
Yes. So, I mean, but there's a couple guys that, like, Huskers stink. They don't even deserve, like, don't even watch the rest of the season. Some dude on Snapchat. I mean, dude, you're on ESPN on Snapchat. Nobody even watches that.
I don't even know who you are.
Some Jason Fritz or something like that.
More people know us.
More people know two average guys than you.
But
Wendy's was talking crap.
I know. I saw that Wendy's.
Which it's funny.
And there was a lot of. I did see a few national writers or journalists, columnists, whatever they are, that did say, this was not what the Husker fans thought it would be like, and maybe this isn't right, and all this stuff.
Yeah,
it's 3 games in.
We're rebuilding, big time.
It sucks because we talked about it before. We knew that we were gonna have to wait.
Yes,
and that we had to be patient, but it sucks right now.
I think they said yesterday they put up a stat on the players that we have on the team. We have 50 newcomers this year.
Out of like 130
50.
or 140. You travel with what, 60 or 80 or
something like that.
In the home games, you get all the walk-ons.
Yeah, but we got 50 new guys. We have walk-ons. We have 6 JUCO transfers. So we have a lot of new guys coming into a new system, a new scheme, a new team, new coaching staff. You're not going to get – it's hard to get that buy-in right away too. And Tanner Farmer talked about it last week. Yeah. We have to get guys to buy in.
But also at the same time, I think these coaches can develop these players, but it's not going to happen right away.
Yeah. We can take 70 on the road. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I
said 60.
We were there.
Pretty close.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard. You have to get that buy-in from the guys that are not the guys that have been there for a few years. Those are the guys that should buy in quicker than anybody else because they've known the culture of laziness they've gone through over the last 3 years.
And they've played in these type of games where they're getting blown out. Or, things aren't going very well right off the bat. You go down a few scores, and you kind of get back into your habits, bad habits. It's tough to change that.
It is.
It's not going to change in 3 games.
Yep. Well, and Frost and his staff, they want that up-tempo offense. I mean, I watched UCF the other night, and they're
too bad we couldn't get Mackenzie Milton because he's a savage.
They haven't changed. Their offense hasn't changed. Their up-tempo hasn't changed. And that's what Frost wants, though. He wants that up-tempo.
They probably have a pretty decent amount of the players that they had last year.
But what we don't have for the up-tempo is the offensive line. We don't have the conditioning to run an up-tempo offense because our guys aren't fast enough. They don't have the energy to do that. Our defensive line also does not have that energy because... And
Stoltenberg got hurt yesterday.
Nick got hurt.
And I don't know if he came back.
I don't think he did.
Because it was much later on in the game and I didn't see him in there. And maybe he was okay, but it was just at that point we were getting beat.
So hopefully he's back. But we have to get... Frost has to get the guys that are going to fit the system into the school. And everyone knows that, and I think even the people that are super pissed, they know that too. But this is really hard to watch as a Husker fan because we looked like a high school team yesterday. And even at our worst, I don't think we looked that bad in a while. So it was very, very hard to watch a Big Ten team whoop up on us the way they did. And so Husker fans really, that patience is going to be key.
Yeah, what do we got here?
So Reno says it's not rock bottom. Tough teams in the Big Ten. Yeah, I think Ohio State could be worse. If we're going to hit rock bottom, Ohio State could be worse.
Ohio State's very good.
Northwestern, Purdue, Illinois, Minnesota, Iowa. I don't think the games are going to be quite big of a butt kicking like this one was. But I do believe this is the worst point margin we're going to have. That's just what I think. I don't think we're going to beat Ohio State. Could be the other team that.
Yeah, I mean, Haskins is throwing like 20 of 25 for 5 touchdowns in like every game.
Yes.
So, we better figure something out before that.
Yeah, thanks Alicio, for the comment. Yeah, I mean, we do have to figure something out.
I do have one thing that I want to get your opinion on, or what you think. At this point of the season, I mean, it's not great. We know that, right? Mm-hmm. Martinez, probably not 100%, like you said. I mean, do you think about maybe redshirting him?
Nope.
Not at all?
No, I don't think you do. I think you have to give him that experience of a loss to know what it feels like. Especially like yesterday, he knows he didn't play great. And even with the offensive line, he knows he didn't play. He said, he goes, I didn't have my best game. I should have played better too. Right. So the players took it upon themselves, and that's one thing I've seen a change from last year.
Certainly.
They are taking responsibility. They're, a lot of this stuff is coming down on the coaches, and the coaches, the players are standing up for the coaches saying, this is on us. We're the ones in between the lines. They prepare us for the games. They get us ready. We didn't go execute. We didn't do what we needed to do to win the game. And so that's where you have to understand that coaches can only do so much. Once the players get in the game,
Yeah, and they've been saying, every week how great they've been at practice.
Mm-hmm.
And practice is different from the game. I mean, you get in the game, something happens, you see some adversity right off the bat. You gotta.
Well, and the speed is different.
That's a big thing too.
Yeah, so it was rough, and Randall, I do hope this is rock bottom. I really do.
And when you're practicing against your own guys, you kind of know their tendencies, their habits, so you can kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember that as playing in sports. Hockey practice, I kind of knew which side guys favored to go to or whatever. So you get in a game and you can only watch so much film.
Yep. So we have to learn from those mistakes. We should have learned in special teams the first two games. We didn't. Frost said some changes are going to be happening there because we seem to be making the same mistakes over and over again. And so we have to take away those bad mistakes, and we have to make a change. And if that means new guys. We got plenty of guys.
Like I said.
But I don't think you redshirt Martinez.
Okay.
I think you give him time because
I wasn't saying that. I think we should. I was just.
Yeah. I think we have teams like Purdue. They're 68% favorite, but Purdue has not looked great in all their games. But have they looked better than us? Absolutely. So they have that more. But they are a passing team before a run team.
They lost to Eastern Michigan, but then they turned around and beat a ranked Boston College team. So
who just jumped in the top 25. But either way, so I think Ohio State's going to be definitely hard. Wisconsin is going to be a tough game. I think Iowa's going to be a tough game for us.
Watching that game last night.
Northwestern, Purdue, Illinois, Minnesota. Minnesota, I think the only reason why I have a chance to play well against them is because they lost their starting running back for the season. So
even Illinois was beating Penn State the other night on Friday.
Yeah.
It was 24-21.
Yeah,
they ended up getting blown out, but these are going to be tough games, and we're going to see what these kids are made of.
Yeah, Alicia. Yeah, it was the loss that we need. Hopefully, it shows us definitely what we need and where we are in the season because it was hard to tell against Colorado. We had 7 sacks. It's like, damn, our defense is good. We had out black shirts.
We haven't seen
Everything's great. And then we didn't do the same thing as Troy. I think we had 2 sacks. I think we had 2 sacks yesterday. So, but then again, we only had 14 last year. So we're still better than last year. But let's be real. We have to work on every side of the ball. Special teams, defense, offense. Everything needs to be worked on right now. Our kicking needs to work on our punting. Lightborn did fine, but there's still he still has things to work on. But he's doing fine.
The problem is he kicks the ball pretty far.
Yeah,
but they return it. So
he kicks it to him.
That's not necessarily he kicks it to him. Just the kick coverage is terrible. So,
so we should see some changes there. So,
really disappointed. Yeah. Anyway, what'd you have?
I was just gonna say, I don't really have much else to talk about Nebraska. It was really hard. Really hard game. That buy-in plus hard work. Yeah, and so Dwayne says buy-in plus hard work. These guys think. Sorry, they think they're working hard, but it's not showing.
That's
so true. If they think they're working 100%, that buy-in I think is that biggest difference. That buy-in that they're going to have into the program and that hard work they put in during the week. Watching film, making those changes, and taking those mental mistakes out of the game is what's going to make the difference moving forward. But we didn't that yesterday. Hopefully that game kicked them in the ass to where they're like, wow, we thought we were working hard.
Yeah.
We played an opponent that looked far superior to who we are. That's where we want to be at.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy in during the week and practice, but you got to make it a complete buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we can win some of these games moving forward.
Yeah. And so Randall mentions Purdue won't lay down. No, Purdue is not a bad team. They, I think Blau is their starting quarterback
and he
now.
always plays good against us for the last couple seasons he has. And they have that more. We got to keep an eye on him.
He can run the ball on a sweep. He can make moves. He can break tackles. He can catch the ball. He's a dual threat guy on the outside, and he's going to be tough. Purdue is definitely going to be a challenge, and Northwestern's having a rough year, but Northwestern always plays Nebraska tough. So we know we're not going to have any easy games, and we're 0-3, so we know we're not going to have any easy games. To me, what I want to see,
not in the Big Ten, we're not.
I don't even care if we don't win a game this year. What I want to see is improvements where we need to see improvements at. If we get beat, we get beat, but we have to see improvements on the offensive line. We have to see improvements on the defensive line, our linebackers, our corners, Lamar Jackson, if he's going to keep playing our special teams. We have to see the improvement throughout the year. And it may be baby steps through some of those games, but we have to see all the pieces come together. And it's been very clear the first 3 games, we can't put all those pieces together. We've had some clicking here, some clicking there. And then yesterday, nothing was
This at times, this not at times.
Then yesterday, everything fell apart. And to hear Michigan players say, let's just look like Nebraska wanted to give up, like they didn't want to be there anymore. And two or three other guys said that. And whether it's true or not, if that's the message that they see, whether it's in the faces, the attitude, the body language, the words that are coming out of their mouth, that's not good. That is something that's not buying into a new culture or wants to change with it, and that buy-in's not there. And
that's not Nebraska.
That is going to destroy this team this year if that continues, and other teams say the same thing about Husker players. Once again, did that really happen? I don't know. These guys are kind of laughing and smiling about it as they said it. Are they saying it because they were kicking our butts, or are they saying it because it was really happening? I don't know. But you could tell on the field our energy just wasn't there.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. And it's going to be a tough year. Yep. It sucks because, you know, everybody's been so excited, and we haven't seen much.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, like Alicia said, offensive line, absolutely. Yeah, so I think
we've talked. Maybe they wanted to give up.
I think we've talked long enough about the Huskers. It was rough yesterday. I hope it's rock bottom. I hope we don't see any worse. Ohio State's the only game I think could be worse than that. But fingers crossed. Hopefully we improve throughout the year.
Yeah, I think we could improve. I think we could improve enough to at least put some points up. We might give up that many points just because their offense is so good.
Yeah, but let's talk about the other teams. Rebuild the pipeline, absolutely. So we have a lot of teams that played really well yesterday. I think your top 4 teams right now with Alabama, Wisconsin, or Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, and Ohio State being the top 4. They're right now, if I had to say playoff rankings come out, they're definitely the top 4 by a landslide.
Yes.
A landslide, because the teams behind them, LSU almost lost to La Tech yesterday.
The only reason that I think LSU might disagree with you on that is because they probably have one of the best wins. They beat an Auburn team.
Yeah, but they almost had a bad win yesterday.
Right.
That's
tough.
Score.
They beat Auburn last week, and then you play Louisiana Tech. You get a little bit of a hangover type game.
But if you want to be a top team, you don't have those hangovers.
Agree.
I get what you're saying.
It happens to everybody.
It really does. So La Tech came in yesterday and put up 21. And they got a couple late touchdowns. It was 24-21 in the third quarter. They ended up scoring in the fourth quarter. They ended up scoring a couple touchdowns late to end up winning the game 38-21. But that USC game, USC Washington State on Friday, that was actually a really good game.
Yeah, it was.
JT Daniels kind of came out of his shell and played a lot better in that game than what he did the previous games. But USC is not going to do anything this year.
And they're playing with a true freshman quarterback, just like we are.
They'll improve. And their coach is under fire from their fans. But listen, you got a true freshman quarterback. USC's been kind of rebuilding for a while now to get back to that dominance that they were in when they had Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, and when they had Sanchez at the quarterback. They got to get back there, and they're gonna. And even with Darnold, they were still rebuilding with Darnold.
But when they had Darnold, he wasn't great last year. I didn't think
he had like 16 interceptions last year.
But they had a lot of young guys around him.
Yeah.
So
they got some work to do. But that game was actually really good. UCF looked fantastic in their win. Ended up winning by 20, but that offense is good.
Yeah,
like 56-36 or something.
Like I said, Milton, man. Frost couldn't bring him with.
So let's talk about yesterday. Was kind of a wild day though, because we had a lot of teams that lost in the top 25. Number 13, 14, 15, 17, 20, 22, and 23 all lost. So 7 teams in the top 25 lost.
And you just as easily could have put 5 on there. You just as easily could have put 7.
6 or 7.
7 instead of 20.
Yeah, you almost had actually 3 more top 10 or top 25 teams almost lost, Wisconsin, Iowa was close down till the end.
Yeah. 14 in the fourth quarter.
You had Oklahoma, who went to overtime with Army, and they ended up pulling that out in overtime.
They missed the 33-yard field goal at the end of the game.
And you had Oregon that
was up 24-7.
Blew the game.
They pretty much did.
They blew that game. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So you have Virginia Tech, Mississippi State, Oklahoma State lose, TCU lost, Oregon lost, Texas A&M lost, and Boston College lost.
So I would say I'm pretty surprised with pretty much all of those losses. Boston College losing to Purdue, surprise. I did not think that TCU would lose to Texas because they played Ohio State pretty tough the week before.
But once again, you maybe have that hangover from such a hell of a game last week.
That's true. Kentucky beat Mississippi State. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Kentucky's had a couple good wins now.
Oklahoma State. That was my surprise because they got blown out by Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas Tech really was laying on the wood to them. That was surprising.
After Oklahoma State beat Boise last week, not that beating Boise was like crazy
Boise's 25
or anything,
I think, in the right
but
place.
I thought that they were going to be, somebody that you're going to have to watch out for, especially Oklahoma.
Yeah, so that was a surprise, but Virginia Tech was the biggest surprise.
Definitely.
So Old Dominion, and they played at Old Dominion.
That's so weird.
But that just goes to show it can be your day. Any day is your day.
Any day cannot be your day.
Yeah, and they could not be your, especially in the
because
top 25.
I said last week that I thought Virginia Tech was the only team Notre Dame needed to worry about.
Well, I was saying yesterday during the game, I'm like, Virginia Tech might lose, and if they lose, that's not good for Notre Dame.
That's true.
But they still have Stanford to play.
Right.
And we'll get to Notre Dame in a second here.
And that helped them that Stanford came back and won that game.
It does. So that was actually a pretty darn good game. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch it. It was on Fox Sports Oklahoma. So I had no way of watching, the Vatech game.
That I don't even know what that was on.
I don't even think that was on TV. They're playing Old Dominion.
It was probably on ESPN Plus or something.
Yeah, or somewhere local. So I couldn't watch that game. And then the Oklahoma Army game, that was on Fox Sports Oklahoma. So I couldn't watch that game either.
What the heck is Fox Sports Oklahoma?
Yeah, so it's another Fox Sports, and they
Weird.
probably, anyways. So couldn't watch that game. But I was trying to follow it on my phone, and Oklahoma had a chance to win with a field goal.
Yeah, I don't know.
At the end of regulation, they missed it.
I don't know if they took a knee to just try to kill some time.
I think
the
they called timeout.
The play before they lost, that said Kyler Murray rushed for 6 yards, lost 6 yards.
Yeah.
4 yards, 6 yards,
4
whatever
6,
it was.
yeah.
So I don't know if they went to take a knee.
I think they went to the center of the field is what they did.
Probably.
And there was 10 seconds left, so they took a knee with 2 seconds, called a timeout. And then, so I followed on my phone, all of a sudden it says, end of fourth quarter. I'm like, what happened? They didn't say missed field goal, it didn't say anything. So I'm like,
when you said that, I had seen that it said missed field goal.
Yeah, so it didn't show it on my phone, so I was really confused. But missed field goal for Oklahoma to win it, takes no OT, and they end up winning OT. But that was the problem. They ended up having like a losing 12 yards, so it was 4th and 22. Well, Army's got to pass. They're a triple threat team. They don't pass the ball.
Oh, yeah.
So 4th and 22, they threw an interception. You kind of knew that was going to end. Once I saw it was 22 yards to go, I'm like, yeah, unless they get a big breakout run, they're done.
Yeah, that's what's tough about that offense, that Army-Navy, Georgia Tech type offense.
Yeah, you have to be able to run it in those situations. They couldn't. But yeah, so Oklahoma had a scare yesterday. Stanford had, I guess, a scare, if you say, but they went to Eugene, Oregon. Oregon deserved to win that game. They were up. It was 24-7.
Yes, it was.
Guy runs down the sideline. I was texting you about this play. So guy runs down the sideline. He kind of tiptoeing the line. He goes to jump in the end zone. He kicks the pylon with his foot. Here's where I was, and the ref didn't do a good job of explaining it. All they said was his left foot was out of bounds. So they called it back, and they had to put it at the 1 yard line. I'm like, his foot was out of bounds. Like, I was really confused by that.
Because he hit the pylon.
Yeah, but then they showed it again, and they gave the analyst, the rules analyst came on, and Bandino, or whatever the heck his name is, and he said, well, he goes, once the pylon is hit, unless the ball is hitting it, you're out of bounds.
Yeah.
So the ball was at the 1 yard line.
When it hits, then it's where the ball's at, so it's short.
Bad snap, they move back a few yards. Bad snap again, and Stanford gets it this time. While it's on the ground, pick it up and run it back for a six.
I mean, that's a 14-point swing.
Yes, and then they went like 3 and out of the next drive. Stanford gets the ball back, they go back and score. So now
It was 24-21
really fast. Yep. That changed the tone of the game. And that game was actually, I watched most of that game. I was flipping back and forth between the Iowa and Wisconsin game too. But, I mean, that game was actually really fun to watch. I don't have a care for either team. I always like the upset, so I wouldn't have cared if Oregon won. But, man, that stadium was just popping, man. That was loud, very loud in that stadium. But Oregon blew it. They got the ball back with the lead, and instead of taking the knee to run out the clock like we should have done against Colorado, tried to run on the ball. Running back is on top of like 3 or 4 guys, tries stretching for the first down. Ball gets knocked out by a defender. They recover. Stanford recovers. They get down in like 40 seconds. They go 46 yards or something in a short amount of time. 5 seconds left, kick a field goal to tie it, go to OT. They win in OT. That's hard on Oregon, but that's also coaching. They should have been kneeling the ball. There's no reason they should have been running the ball in that situation. It's not like they were running to the middle of the field to get in field goal range. They were running it just around the clock. If you're going to do that, you got to either just bust it up the middle with a power guy, or they went outside with one of their smaller guys. He tried to stretch it too far and got knocked out. I mean, it's unfortunate for him, but they never should have been in that situation. And Oregon blew it.
Yeah, I mean, when you say it comes down to coaching, I mean, you gotta tell these guys that hey, even if you're short of a first down, make sure you wrap up that ball.
Yep. He had one arm on it. But then in OT, I mean, really, there's some Oregon fans that are pretty mad because in OT, very first pass to the corner of the end zone, it was definitely a pass interference.
I saw it.
He was holding him almost the entire time, never turned around until the ball was almost there, but he's holding him the whole time. That should have been a pass interference. Oregon did get screwed on that. But one penalty does not depict the rest of the game and how it plays out.
Sure.
So you got to look at their lead. They should have gone up 31-7, but instead they fumbled the ball twice, and the second time Stanford got it. So they hurt themselves in that game. But that was a fun one to watch.
Wisconsin, Iowa. It was a good game. It was a really good game.
The over/under was 43. I told my buddy I said he'd probably take the under. They're not going to score 43 points combined.
45. Did they score 45 total?
They ended up winning by 10.
It was 28-17.
28-17, yeah.
45.
But it wasn't until they scored that last touchdown when they were just trying to run out the clock and they ended up scoring a TD.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I mean, I will give it to those Iowa fans of ours that follow our page and comment, Jason Huntington, these guys.
Josh.
They have not given us too much crap when they probably could.
They're waiting until we play them.
But I did give them a little shout out on their page,
saying,
you guys played a solid game. Hopefully we can figure some things out, and that they can get a little better so that we can overtake Wisconsin. In the West.
Wisconsin's beatable, and we saw that BYU beat them. We know they're beatable because Hornibrook is good. He's not a bad quarterback.
And Iowa made him throw, and he made a couple good throws.
He did, but
when he needed to.
They are fairly one-dimensional still, and if you stop the run game, you force Hornibrook to throw, you have a better shot at winning that game. And so they are beatable. I don't think Nebraska's going to beat them, but they are beatable. And you have to stop Bryce Love, or not Bryce Love, Jonathan Taylor when he gets the ball, because he is a force to reckon with. There was actually one play, it might have been the Stanford game. One of the two, either one of the running backs, Love or Taylor, instead of waiting for their block, they just ran in front of him like, screw you, I'm not waiting for you. And they ended up running all the way to the end zone. But
I think that might have been Bryce Love.
It might have been. But, I mean, it was just that game last night, Iowa and Stanford. It was a good game. Or Iowa and Wisconsin, good game. Solid defense on both sides of the ball, which they're going to bring
low
that.
Scoring. It was what you would expect from a Big Ten game like that.
Absolutely. It was fun to watch. And to see... those the Big Ten West, unfortunately, those are the teams that we probably have to hope for because Nebraska ain't going to do it. So Wisconsin or Iowa.
I think they said for the last 4 seasons, the winner of that game has won the West and gone on to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, so Iowa had a good game. Wisconsin played well. You had Notre Dame. They put up 56 points yesterday on Wake Forest at Wake Forest.
Yeah, they had a quarterback change.
They put in Book.
Ian Book.
He's a lot bigger than I thought he was. I saw him. They showed some highlights during the Husker game. It was on at the same time, which seems to be a trend this year, which pisses some people off that are Notre Dame fans. But really, Book looked really good. And you're going to see that probably as a permanent change.
I said last week, it seems like every year they have this happen.
You did, yeah.
A quarterback comes in and overtakes the quarterback, and then that guy goes into the next season and then somebody comes and overtakes him.
Yeah, but this was a really good move by Notre Dame to start Book. I mean, and obviously they put up 56 points.
Yeah.
They should have done that against Ball State.
They should have
put up 56 points. And I think that's what Notre Dame needs to do is against teams like the Ball States and teams like Wake Forest. I was telling my buddy yesterday, my buddy Pooty, said you have to blow somebody out. No one's going to take Notre Dame seriously if they're winning by 5 points against a lesser opponent.
Right.
You see the teams like Alabama, LSU, Georgia. They are winning by 30, 40
Ohio
points.
State.
They're winning by big margins, and that's what Notre Dame had to do yesterday, and they did it. They put up 56 points. They gave up like, 27? 56-27 or something like that?
28 or something.
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't a...
24,
They still gave up some points, but when you're putting up 56, looks good on your end. So if you win by 30 margin against a weaker opponent, that's what you should do. And so that was good for Notre Dame to show that, hey, we can put up this amount of points. And guess what? We got a new quarterback, and he looks really good.
Yeah, I was going to say it was almost a bad thing for them going in because now Stanford has some film on Book. You know, if you bring him in for the Stanford game and he has a game like that, like he did yesterday, that's kind of what you're hoping for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now you kind of have Stanford in this, okay, which quarterback's going to play? Probably Book. Yeah. So you're probably going to want, but you can bring Wimbush in. So you got to watch film on both of them.
And Notre Dame can look at Stanford's film and be like, Oregon wiped the table with their run game was strong.
Right.
And their pass game was good too. So they should be able to watch film on Stanford and say, here's how we're going to beat you.
Well, I think Notre Dame's there's one of, if not their top running back was suspended for the first 4 games. So I think he's going to be back for Stanford this week.
Yeah, so I think the difference between Book and Wimbush is Book is more of a dual threat than Wimbush. Wimbush is a runner before he's a passer.
Yeah.
He can pass the ball, but he's not the most accurate or consistent passer. So Notre Dame, I've said it before, I told you last week, they have the schedule to go undefeated. Yeah. If they go undefeated, unless Ohio State, Alabama,
Clemson, and even then, I mean,
it's gonna be tough. I think you put Notre Dame in if they go.
Because at that point Oklahoma maybe, if they go undefeated.
If Oklahoma goes undefeated, maybe. But Oklahoma shows they can be beat by a run game. TCU, they play TCU this year, right?
Do they?
They should. They have to play all.
No, I mean they play all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have to. So yeah, I mean TCU is going to be a tough game for them.
Texas is always
Texas
a tough game.
is going to be a tough game for them.
Oklahoma State has looked decent, even though they got blown out yesterday. Texas Tech can score some points.
Baylor plays them next week. Baylor can score points, so Baylor could beat them.
Big 12 always beats each other up.
So I think Oklahoma, if they go undefeated and win the Big 12, I think that they might sneak in. If they're one of 5 undefeated teams, Notre Dame is going to be on the outside looking in.
Without a conference
with their biggest with two wins, probably in the top 25. I don't think USC is going to finish there. They might, but either way, you're going to have Michigan will probably should finish in the top 25, and Stanford should finish in the top 25. So 2 teams in the top 25 that you beat. You have a couple teams you didn't beat as good as you should have.
Virginia Tech turns things around. They finish in the top 25
potentially. So there's a lot of factors in that, but Notre Dame has the schedule to not only run the table but to get into the playoffs this year.
They don't have to play Clemson. Florida State's having a down year, although they did win yesterday.
Yeah.
It's too early, I think.
It is.
We'll see.
We're 4 weeks in, so it is too early. But I think next week's gonna be fun. We got some good games next week.
2 of the biggest games of the season, I think, to decide the playoff. Which we'll get to.
Yeah,
what else
so we got number 20 BYU plays Washington.
Number 11 Washington.
BYU wiped the table with Wisconsin.
Is that at Washington?
At Washington. So a little bit tougher road game for BYU.
Props to BYU on their scheduling.
No kidding.
That's if you can win them.
Yeah, they seem to do that quite a bit though. So BYU at Washington, watch out for that one. I think that's an 11 o'clock game. West Virginia number 12. At number 25, Texas Tech. Now, I do think West Virginia would be ranked higher if they would have played that 4th game, but since they got one of those games canceled.
Yeah, that's right.
So they are 3-0, but, I mean, Will Greer's looked fantastic so far. West Virginia, that offense is going to be tough. Texas Tech. Texas Tech had a good win yesterday. It's the Big 12. They score points. Both teams can. So it'll be interesting in that game. That's huge for West Virginia because everyone's calling them or Texas to win the Big 12. Well, West Virginia's got to obviously win that game against Texas Tech. I think it's gonna be it could be a shootout, but it could be fun to watch. Busch Light is better. Jordan, I don't really agree with that comment.
I usually drink Busch Light, but I went on vacation and drank a lot of it, so I've had to switch it up.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to drink IPAs on the show, but I can only down. But I gotta drive home after this, so I can't have like 2 IPAs.
I just gotta go upstairs.
Man, so so Busch Light is better. That's funny. Baylor plays at Oklahoma, number 6 Oklahoma. So that game, it's at Oklahoma. It's going to be tough to go to Norman for BYU. They haven't had the greatest start to the season.
Yeah, I mean,
they put up like 62 points yesterday.
Baylor's 3-1. They lost. Who did I say they lost to?
Was it Ole Miss?
I don't remember. No, that's who Texas Tech lost to.
Oh, that's right.
Either way, though, they've gotten a little bit better. So that'll be, and coming up. Oklahoma showed some signs.
Show some weaknesses.
Yeah.
Number 4, Ohio State, playing number 9, Penn State.
At Penn State.
At Penn State, it's going to be a whiteout. Trace McSorley, who's their running back now? Sanders, is that his name?
I'm not sure what his name is. He looks a lot like Barkley.
The dude can run. I think Sanders is his last name.
He looks like Barkley.
The dude can run. I mean, McSorley hasn't lost a step without Barkley. I think that was one of the biggest things for Penn State coming into this year. Is, man, Saquon Barkley and McSorley, they have that chemistry going on. They are a dual threat backfield.
Right, and I think people just maybe I think going into the season thought he was very talented.
Yeah.
But how far has that gone? Is it just because there's always that threat of Barkley, so it opens things up.
So it opens up dual threat, yeah.
But
it's
no, he has.
this year.
And they struggled that first week. They went to overtime with Appalachian State.
App State likes to do
first game of the season. That's
they like to mess with teams. But yeah, I mean, I thought that game was really good, or it's going to be really good. Ohio State, they got Haskins, they got Dobbins, and then they have Weber in the backfield, and Haskins can throw the ball. I think yesterday he was like 21 of 24 for over 300 yards
and 5 touchdowns.
And 5 I mean, just a stellar game for him. And
that's how it's been every game.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good.
They've been able to take him out shortly into the third quarter. Because he has 21 of 25.
Yeah, even Kyler Murray's looked really good. The dude is fast for Oklahoma. He's, like I said last week, the first game he was 9 of 11. They're like, oh, Kyler Murray. I didn't really think much of it, but he continues to play well, and he played well yesterday, even in the close game. He still had a good game, and he's fast. So number 4, Ohio State at number 9, Penn State. Really looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
That'll be prime time during.
Unfortunately, it's 6:30, the same time as
the Stanford and Notre Dame. But both of them are going to be televised. Flip back and forth or have two TVs set up because you're going to want to see that one as well.
I think
Stanford at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame has the upper hand because it's at home. Also, Book can play like he did yesterday against Stanford. And Stanford, looking at the game they had yesterday against Oregon, it's at Eugene, but they should have been the better team, and they were getting essentially knocked around the entire game, even though they came back to win. They got outplayed the entire game.
That's pretty tough.
They just won the game. I mean, that's
Stanford plays USC, and then Oregon, and then Notre Dame. It's a pretty tough schedule.
That's tough. 3 games in a row. I mean, if I had to pick, I think BYU could beat Washington. Washington won 27-20 against Arizona State last night. They're up by a couple scores. Going into the fourth quarter, they ended up scoring early, went up by 2 scores, and then Arizona State ended up scoring like 3 or 4 minutes left in the game, and they couldn't get the ball back. So they ended up 27-20 last night against Arizona State. Arizona State played them tough. I watched the first half. It was actually a really good game in that first half. So Brownie's going to have to come out and play well in that game because BYU, we've seen what they can do against a team like Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You have more of a pass threat with Washington, so I'm looking forward to that game, but I'll see what the over-under is on that, what the point spread is. But I think West Virginia wins easy. I think OU is going to beat Baylor pretty easily. Ohio State, Penn State, you just never know with that game. It's at Penn State.
I still think Ohio State slides out of there with a win, but
I'm going to say Ohio State. I think they're going to win by 7-10 points. I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a good game. I think we're going to have a shootout, a really good game up until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But you're not going to see Penn State pull away with 35 unanswered points in the fourth quarter like they did against Illinois on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, Illinois 28-24 going into the fourth quarter. and 35 unanswered. That was impressive by Penn State to turn it on, but that, once again, Illinois' conditioning, they still have a lot of young guys on their team. They just couldn't hold on. So
yeah, it'll be a different story if they go down to Ohio State. It's going to be much tougher to come back.
Oh, yeah. Stanford at Notre Dame. Once again, I think Notre Dame has the upper hand because it's at home. I think these teams are fairly even. Stanford, I still think they're not having the best year. They haven't looked great in most of their games. They beat USC like 17-3. It just was not a very fun game to watch. USC does have a pretty strong defense, though. But once again, Stanford, you stop the run game, you have to force Costello to throw, and Costello stepped up last night when he needed to. But I still think their run game is the bread and butter.
Yeah, I could see that game being very similar to the Oregon game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Where
I don't think it's going to become a 17-point margin at one point.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be close.
I could see Notre Dame going up by like 10 or 14, and Stanford comes back and it being a really tight game to the end.
It could be. I think that's going to be a fun one to watch. So definitely some good football coming up Week 5 here. We did have a few teams jump into the top 25. You have Texas, Kentucky, Duke, Texas Tech, Cal, and they're all in. So they all jumped in the top 25. Happened with Boston College this last week, and now they're back outside.
Yeah, I mean,
they came in and Purdue whooped them up.
And I guess I didn't look this week, but last week I looked and there was like 13 teams in the top 25 that had a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's even more than that now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Right now, when you have 7 teams go down in the top 25, you're gonna have teams jump up there that maybe have a loss. So.
And that's why these rankings are always stupid.
But it's also why we love college football because because
then you get the 4-9 matchup, you get the 7-8 matchup. Yeah. I mean,
you get
obviously those are big name teams that are playing each other. People will be watching them regardless.
Yeah, but you get teams that Army, you don't have a chance to beat Oklahoma. And you come in, you take them to overtime. Oregon, you haven't been really good in a while. You're playing in Eugene, but you really shouldn't have a chance against Stanford. They've been
go
pretty
by
dominant.
17 in the second
half. And then you ended up blowing it, but you had the lead for the entire game. And then teams like Old Dominion going in, playing at home against Vatech, beating the number 13 team. It's anybody's day. Anybody can win, and that's what makes college football so fun. Is yes, you have these teams that are ranked early on, and then you have a team like BYU coming in to beat Wisconsin when they're ranked 6th. I mean, who would have guessed that? You just never saw it coming. So it's fun.
I think some people like us and others are excited for. I want to see Alabama play somebody that can beat them. Yeah. It doesn't happen very often, at least the last couple of years, but they just absolutely dominate everybody that they play. I want to see them play Georgia. Yes. I want to see them maybe play LSU, and LSU give them a tough game. I mean, they played Texas A&M yesterday. Texas A&M and only lost by 2 points to Clemson. Yeah. And I mean, they scored some points on Alabama. I liked it.
22 or something.
They scored 20. It was like 45-23 or something like that.
But I think those top teams right now, they are. You look at them, and yes, it's early on. There's only been 4 games played, but from what we've seen, they're kicking the crap out of the teams they should kick the crap out of, and that's what you're not seeing all the other teams do that are in the top 10 do consistently. By the way, Florida kicked the crap out of Tennessee yesterday, which was hilarious. I hate both teams, but that was pretty funny to watch.
Yes, I do.
But Tennessee also, they need to get their stuff together because they're kind of in a similar situation that we are
new coach,
rebuilding.
Same thing. I'm sure there's people saying right now, "Oh, Nebraska got their butts kicked." Yeah. I love it.
Oh yeah, we did.
Whatever.
But yeah, so we're not here to talk about Nebraska anymore because that was. Yeah. But anyways, one thing with Nebraska, we'll go back to it to end on a positive note. A lot of people were saying, you guys are backing Scott Frost so much, but you never did that with Riley. You never did that with Bo. Bo was there for 9 years. And the only reason why Bo was fired was because he couldn't win the championship games. He couldn't sometimes get to the championship games, and he struggled in the bowl games. Struggled in the big ones. And his media relations.
Yeah, and he was.
But other than that,
bad image on the sideline type.
But he was a winning coach, 9-3 or 10-2, won a few bowl games, and the kids fought hard for him. The kids wanted to play for him. They loved him. They didn't like how things went down with the firing of him. Then we bring in a subpar 500 coach who is just all smiles when we lose. And that's the difference between someone like Riley and bringing in Frost. He's going to say how it is. He's going to tell you the truth. He's not going to sugarcoat stuff. He's going to say, yeah, we sucked yesterday. We didn't play to our potential. We can do better. We have more talent than that. But we got beat and we looked terrible. He's going to tell you that. Riley was like, let's go some ice cream and sprinkles.
Right.
That's
Well,
really cool.
he was just like, I thought we did some good things.
There's some good things, some bad things. We got some things, some film to look at and work on. No, he's going to be better because he knows what he's doing on the side. He knows how to win. Riley didn't know how to win. Nor did he show that he cared about losing.
Need to get this win against Purdue this week. I think
Mm-hmm.
we need a win.
If we get a
Our
win,
first win, I think we
build
can
some confidence.
build on that. So
Build on a W. So go Big Red.
Yep.
Patience, man. Woosah, just relax. I know it's hard to, but
Yeah, man.
it might be a rough 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Let's get some of these guys in that Frost is recruiting.
Let's
Year 2, hopefully a little better. Year 3, hopefully we'll be a lot better.
Let's get some
he
offensive linemen in here. Let's develop them.
He didn't change UCF overnight either, so it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be...
Well, and I think when he got to UCF, I'm going to be honest with you, I think that he had more talent.
Yeah, he had more speed.
He had more speed.
He had guys built for a speed and
Yep.
a tempo offense.
Yep.
We don't have that.
Exactly. So, we'll get there.
We will always back our Huskers. We will always be mad when we lose, whether it's Ohio State, Michigan, or Purdue or Northwestern. If we lose, we're going to be mad. You guys are allowed to be mad, but you have to stay by your team. And like Frost said, if you don't want to stay by the team, if you don't like them at their worst, you don't deserve them at their best.
Yeah.
And
and not only that, but if you go onto social media and you say negative things, that only hurts us.
Recruits. Yes.
Because, oh man, I'm going to go to Nebraska, and the first time I have a bad game, all these 50-year-old guys are going to be talking crap about me.
50-year-old guys.
And it's like,
yeah.
not just 50-year-old guys, but people are going to, if you're playing for UCLA or something, people in LA are not really going to know who a receiver is for UCLA necessarily.
Yeah.
But people in Nebraska know everybody.
Yeah,
and
they're our pro team. And so we're passionate. We love our teams. We hate to lose. But we're going to lose.
Believe,
we're going to have more
faith,
losses.
And like I said, don't say anything stupid.
Yes, be smart about it.
All right.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's really all I got.
All right, go big red, guys. Let's hope we can have a good game
Let's
against
get
Purdue.
a win against Purdue.
Let's
get some confidence.
Let's see those improvements on special teams, offense, defense. Let's see game by game. We see more and more improvements throughout the year to where we can be better and better put ourselves in a better position to get better recruits in the next coming years. So, like I say, go big red always. We appreciate you joining us today. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're two average guys, and that's all we got for you.
We'll see you next week.